Happy Sunday, you guys. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and that you're all stuffed. I know I am. I've eaten too much. I've had too much wine. It was pretty much a disaster, but it was really good. So I am all renewed from family and rest and too much food, and I'm ready to rock and roll again. So I'm just so happy to be here, and we've got some really good content that I want to talk about today, and that is redos, which is something that I think is one of our biggest frustrations here in the industry. I know that we've all been through it, and I think no matter how long you've been in the industry, you probably still go through it at some point in time. So I definitely want to talk about that today. I had created a post, I think it was maybe yesterday, that I was going to jump on this morning and we would talk about redos. And I always tend to talk about the stuff that sort of is in the back of my mind as I go through my days at the salon, and things that are happening with me. So I go through the same exact thing that everybody else goes through, and so even 25 years after first starting out in the industry, there'll be times where I'll wind up with some of the same situations that I'm talking about when I come on. So I'm really spurred on with content that comes from my actual real life. So as a hairstylist, we all go through the same stuff. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here with my sweater this morning. Sorry. It's Sunday. I'm very casual. I really just got up not too long ago, just to be honest. I slept in this morning. So anyway, but the first thing I want to do is just introduce myself to you. I would like to try to have some consistency with this whole video thing, and I want to let you know each and every time I come on sort of who I am and a little bit about me, keep it really brief. So let's just, jump into that. I'll just introduce myself and then we'll get started with what we're talking about today. So my name is Sarah Cruz. I am a real life hairstylist here in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been behind the chair for 25 years. I'm a shareholder in our salon company, Studio Gavin Hair Color, here just south of the city. And I travel and I teach business strategies and hairstyling education for a L'Oreal brand called Hairstylist, which we carry in our salon. And I am just here as a fellow stylist to mentor, coach, and hopefully give some perspective to other stylists out there that would help, and things that I wish that I had known going along on my journey in the industry, just to combat some of the common pitfalls that can happen to us as we go through our career, causing stress, financial strain, burnout, the things that we wind up going through commonly as hairstylists in our industry, that ultimately sometimes can lead to leaving the industry altogether. And so that is not something we want. Obviously, we all started out with a passion and a drive and a love for this industry, and I just think it's really important to so cliche, but honestly, work smarter, not harder. I wish somebody would come up with a different way of saying that, though, because I feel like that's so overused, but honestly, it's the truth. So just to share some of these perspectives and some of the things that have helped me as I've learned along the way to sort of combat the things that really get us down in this industry. So you know what, it doesn't matter if you are a stylist just starting out on the floor in a salon, or if you are just entering cosmetology school, or whether you're a seasoned stylist and you've been in it forever. I think there's something here for you. There's something here for all of us. So I just invite you to come and join me and hang out as we just kind of create our own little break room, back room experience and just hash it all out. So that's what I'm here for. Hopefully you get something out of it. So, all right, so today, talking about redos, I wanted to talk about this because I think it is probably the number one most frustrating thing that happens to us as hairstylists. And it is so unnecessary. And I think going through a long career, which is physical, it is really important to save our bodies as much as possible. And doing physical work that is I feel like a waste of time. It's not a waste of time, it has to be done, but you know, nobody wants to spin their wheels and spend time doing unnecessary physical work. So I just want to come on and talk about some ways that I think we can prevent this, but also, you know, I just want to share how my approach to redos has sort of evolved, especially recently. Hey, Casey. Hey, girl. It's you and me right now. So, you know, just working it all out on a Sunday morning. So that's Casey. Casey is honestly somebody who is like a mentor of mine within the salon. She's also at Studio Gavin with me, and she is a super successful hairstylist. I'm just detouring from this for a second, but I did a little interview with Casey in the back room the other day because as I go through this new you know, the sort of this new endeavor of the Real Life Stylist, I want to expand it and start a blog and, you know, do some different things with it. So I think it's really important to provide some different perspectives from different people, and I'm definitely going to be bringing some folks that I truly admire within the industry to you at, you know, at some point in the future. We're going to really start having this roll out. I'm working on it right now. So actually interviewed Casey in the break room the other day, and I think you'll be really interested to hear her story and her journey. She is a rock star. She's like it at the salon. Everybody looks up to her. So she's got some really great insights and some things to say that are super helpful to people in the industry. So I'm looking forward to all the great things that are to come. But just so talking about redos, it's just such an unnecessary thing for us to have to do, and I know that we can avoid it. And I just want to talk about a little bit the way that my approach to it has sort of evolved. And it has been an evolution, because I used to look at, and I still do, I still get that ick, you know, when somebody like contacts me and says, hey girl, I just kind of think that blah, 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 right? I mean, oh God, it's like, oh, fuck, are you kidding me? It's like you're tired, you know, you're stressed, and it shouldn't be like that, but sometimes it is, and you're overextended. You want to spend time with your family, and the last damn thing you want to do is do something over again for no money. But I do think that we can change the way that we look at it. We can actually be more grateful for it. That's what I'm trying to teach myself. And we can look at it as an actual opportunity. It kind of is hard, but honestly, once you start to think about it like that, you can actually teach yourself to be grateful for the opportunity to keep a client, to keep a client happy, and to make that investment going forward for your career and for the retention of your clients. Because if you don't have clients, that's it, you know, nobody's eating this week. So anyway, I have to look off to the left here. You're right, but my left, and look at my notes, because I just can't memorize everything. You know, my brain is shot. So I want to talk about how to prevent and also how to sort of handle these situations. And one of the things, I mean, first of all, let me just say, nobody's going to think this is a very popular viewpoint, but honestly, if there's a redo that comes in, guess whose fault it is? It's ours. I don't care how crazy that bitch is. I don't care if, I don't care who this person is, how clueless, how, you know, it doesn't matter. It is 100% our fault. And the reason why is because we didn't set the situation up correctly. And I don't know that we've been properly trained in the industry always to be able to communicate the way we should. And I think, I know that's the most important thing. I mean, communication is the number one thing why we have redos. The other thing is like sometimes we're just not totally polished in a particular skill, and that's okay too, because education is important, we know that, but it's very important to know what your boundaries are too as a stylist, and don't try to tackle something you're not comfortable with. And I think we've all kind of done that, felt pressured to you know, do that balayage or that technique, you know, or a client says, hey, I want balayage, and they show you a picture, and you know, you feel like you've got to perform this, right? Casey says it's as uncomfortable for them to call us not happy as it is for us to accept that call. She said, yes, communication is key. It is so key. And I just think that if we could just change the way that we think about it and the way that we handle that call when it comes in, we're going to be able to navigate through that situation happier even within that situation of doing that redo. So it is communication. The first thing I would say is the most important is to make sure that you're really, really listening. I know sometimes in our head, you know, we're checked out and maybe there's some stuff going on, you know, in our lives, or, you know, hell, we're just hungry, or, you know, our bladder's about to explode, or I don't know, whatever, but we're sidetracked and we're not really listening. Sometimes we don't really care because we're just worn out. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves. So we'll just get into all that stuff. But the listening is really the key. And they are giving us clues, and they are telling us, you know, they are telling us what they want. They're asking us questions, but I think it's really important to recognize some of the things that they say to us that can lead us into knowing sort of which way to navigate the consultation. One of the things I notice that clients will say is, hey, do you think I need blah, blah, blah? Well, sometimes that person is truly asking you, do you think I need, you know, such and such? Do you think I need bangs? Do you think I should cut it? Do you whatever? Or sometimes they're saying, hey, I kind of wish this was a little bit lighter, or hey, I kind of wish this, but instead they're going to say, do you think I need this? Well, the answer to that question is, yeah, basically usually yes, you know, because this is kind of what they want. And so learning how to recognize if they're actually asking us for our opinion, or if they're telling us what they want within that question, because I think we get that question a lot. And I think asking questions beyond that is the way to sort of go with that. They're going to let you know. They'll say, honestly, you know, you're the professional. I just want you to, you know, tell me, what do I need to do? So then it's totally appropriate to offer suggestions and, you know, give them some guidance. But a lot of times people kind of know what they want, and it's just really important for us to execute that the way that they want it. It may not be our choice, but don't try to start talking somebody out of what they want. Maybe they're like, I don't really like roots, you know, I don't know, this whole rooty ombre thing, I don't really like that, but you're like so into it, and you're like, girl, that's what's trending right now. I mean, it would be so pretty. I think have some, you know, some dimension in there. I think that's really what you need. When this girl's never worn her hair like that, say if she's a blonde, you know, she's never had 1/2 inch of root in her life. She doesn't want to see dark. She wants to be blonde, blonde, blonde. This is just an example. Just go with that. Just make it easy on yourself and just deliver what that person wants. Now, if you don't feel comfortable in doing what they're asking you to do, or you get that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, oh gosh, I've only got an hour and a half. She wants that really light. Okay, yeah, sure, no problem. That's setting yourself up for total failure. You have to be really honest with them about what you can do. And it's okay if you can't do everything. Nobody can do everything. Even if you're uncomfortable with doing a certain technique, it's okay. I'd rather tell the client, you know what, I am actually not a huge balayage fan. I don't do a lot of balayage. I find, you know, I haven't had a lot of experience in balayage. That person would rather you tell them that that's not your bag, that that's really not your cup of tea, you know, or, hey, you know, I don't really do a lot of precision cutting. I'm not so sure I can get that hard edge, you know, I might not be the person, but hey, I know somebody over here who's amazing with this, and I think that that might be. It's okay to refer somebody, because you don't want to set yourself up for not getting the outcome that they're looking for, because they're going to call you back, and then you're going to have to deal with it again, and it's just like, ew. So it is okay to let people know that you don't have a particular skill set. You're who you are. You know, you do some things better than others, and we all do. It's okay to say, you know what, my specialty is really foiling. My specialty is really redheads, and that's what I focus on a lot in my business. But I know so and so over here is, you know, she's a specialist in blonde, she's a specialist in balayage, so I want to refer you to her. Not every client is for you. Not every client is, you know, not every client is for you, and that's okay. So I would say that that is, you know, the first thing. Communication is very important. Letting them know what's doable, letting them know what, you know, is really possible, and also really letting them know how much this is going to cost. And don't be afraid of that, because that just is what it is. You didn't make the rules. You know, even if you're a booth rental stylist, you might be making the rules. You might be setting the price, knowing what it takes for you to make it worthwhile for you to do this particular service. Yeah, you might be making that rule, but it just is what it is. Things cost what they cost, and you know, everybody has what they need in order to be able to perform that service. Like, you have to decide what it's worth to you, and then you have to be very firm in your pricing and let them know this could turn into an $800 service, and just let them know up front, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck having to perform this service, and it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you product. It's going to cost, you know, it is not going to be worth it. So don't set yourself up for that. So I would say the communication is definitely key. I think also that we really need to be overly realistic with what is possible. You know, that whole thing of like totally under promise and over deliver. You just need to be overly conservative with what it's going to take to get there. And if it's something that you don't feel confident in at all, it's okay to refuse the service. So setting that up that way, I think, is great. Asking questions and pictures also in the consultation is absolutely key. So, you know, I think when somebody brings in a picture, it helps us in our mind to know what needs to happen to get there. And then we can approach the consultation from that point, rather than relying on the person to try to explain to us what they want. Pictures are always so much more important. And then they might be coming in and saying, oh, I love this picture. I want a balayage, but she's got bright white ends and this girl's brunette, and you know, you may not get there with balayage, and it's okay to explain to them, I know balayage is a thing right now, but there are techniques that will get us to the point that you want to get to in a better way. And so quote what you know is going to get that person to where they want to get, and be, again, overly conservative. Add in treatments to your quotes. If this is going to maybe be a color service that's a high lift service, you know, add in treatments to your quote of how much it's going to cost, and add in everything that you would do. Because if you're behind someone at the grocery store and you're looking at them and you're thinking to yourself in your mind, oh man, if I could, I would do blah 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 to this person, and they would need, you know, and you know what you would do. Well, you're just talking to a person like just anybody else. You're just giving them the information. This is not on you. This is not personal. This is just, you're here. Here's what I feel it would take. And then it's up to them whether or not they want to go for that. You know, they get to make the decision if they want to spend the money and they want to go through, you know, what it takes to go through. And this is just if this is a large color service. Sometimes our regular clients will call us and come back. Maybe they wanted to do something a little different. Hey, let's put some lowlights in today. This girl's never had lowlights. She's never wanted them. If she says, hey, you know, I think I want to put some dark in my hair, but then, or she just wants to go dark, or she wants to do something totally different. If she calls you back and she doesn't like it, that's kind of not your fault. I think it's really important to sit down and talk with the client about what their expectations are, how they could emotionally feel about a change afterwards, and to also let them know that if they're not happy with it, you'd welcome them to, you know, we'll get you booked to come, you know, to come back in, and we'll do such and such and such and such, and here's what it would take to get you back to blonde, or to get you back to where you are now if you don't like it. And it would probably cost in the neighborhood of blah 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 to blah blah blah. That way they know you've set it up in the consultation once they decide they want to do something different, something crazy, and they're going to come back like, I don't like this, and then you feel bad because they're your client. You're like, oh God, now I have to just lighten it out for them. I'm going to spend an hour and, you know, get them back and not charge them because they're not happy. No, let them know if they decide to make a change. Yeah, let's totally try it. And then if you don't like it, you know what, we'll get you in, we'll, you know, and we'll have to go through these steps to get you back to where you are now, and it will cost approximately this much. And then they know ahead of time that if they don't like it, they will be paying when they come back in, but it doesn't have to make it weird. They already know what to expect. People just want to know what's going to happen, how much it's going to cost, what they need to do. And when people have the information, they feel so much more equipped, they feel so much more in control, and they trust you so much more. So that, I think, is key. I think that is, you know, probably the biggest thing. The other thing that causes us to have redos is just a lack of skill. And again, I think it's really important to go back to knowing what your boundaries and your limits are. If you are not comfortable with a certain type of haircut, if you're not comfortable with clipper cutting, you know, and you've got a guy that wants this, you know, crazy fade in, high and tight and all this design, you know, I don't know, but I mean, it's just like, it's okay to say, you know, that's really not my area of expertise, and I want you to be happy with what we do. Anything I do, my number one concern is that you're 100% happy with it. And you know, I don't want to do something that you wouldn't be happy with. And honestly, that's not my gift, that's not my skill level. Let me refer you to so and so. So it's okay if you don't have every skill. You know, education is important. I think if there's something that you do want to do behind the chair, start practicing that on a mannequin, get yourself some education, and then start posting that on your social media that that's what you're doing, because the more you do, the better you're going to be. But things like certifications and classes specialty classes that will help you to get the skill that you're looking for are very, very important. And it's not like we can kind of just figure it out on our own, because that's when we're going to wind up with redos. You know, we're gonna wind up with people calling us back because the balayage is going to be splotchy. It's not going to be bright enough. It's not going to be. So that is, you know, very important. Know your boundaries. If it's not something you're comfortable with, just let somebody know, hey, that's not my area of expertise. Let me refer you. If it's something that isn't possible for the client, you let them know, hey, you know, this isn't something that's really achievable for you, and still maintain the integrity of your hair. I would not feel comfortable doing it. That's okay to say. You know, this service could cost upwards of blah, 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 blah. That way they know. You know, if somebody is complaining about the price and like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive, it's like, girl, you know what? I totally get it. It can get very pricey. And I totally understand that. That's just kind of what it takes to get to that point. And if we want to modify our plan, we totally can. We could do this, or we could do this, or I could refer you to so-and-so. Maybe my colleague in the salon who has a different price point. There are ways of getting around it. But just remember, as you grow and go through your journey as a hairstylist, you're going to increase your prices, and your clientele is going to grow with you. So as you grow, you're going to leave some people behind. You're going to leave people behind that are more budget conscious and have less flexibility in their schedules. You're going to have people that, you know, as you start out as a lower level in the salon, like we're a summit salon, so we work on level system. Hey Sarah, my friend Sarah from 615 Brides just joined us. She is awesome. She has a great little business. Well, it's not a little business, it's a big business. They do wedding dresses that are totally customizable, and she's this awesome chick that I met working on my wedding business, and she, hi girl. And so we just became fast friends. So she just joined us. But so if you're like in a level system, it's okay, like as you grow, that your prices are going to change. And you kind of are okay with the people that are left back at, you know, the level 1, the level 2, the level 3, as your level 4, 5, and 6. You know, you want people that have flexibility in their schedule. They can come from 8 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. You know, they have lots of disposable income, so they're not worried about the budget so much. So if somebody is challenged by what your prices are, then they're probably not the client for you anyway. It's okay to be honest with how much something is going to cost and what it's going to take. Oh, I'm so glad. I mean, I know I'm talking to hairstylists, but it's applicable to every, lots of type of businesses too, I think. Thank you so much, Sarah. I love you, girl. You're just so awesome and supportive. So that is like that's kind of like how you would, how I feel like are some great ways to sort of prevent these redos. Also, now I know this is getting kind of long, but I also want to talk about how to handle redos when somebody does call you back. First of all, this is how I've kind of evolved in my whole redo perspective. I hate that call. I hate that text. And somebody's like, hey, you're like, oh God. And all you can think of is like, oh my gosh, now I have to work and for nothing. And it's just like, and it's awful. Okay. So, but I've just been changing my way of thinking about it. First of all, again, this is not this person's fault. It's my fault. And that totally sucks, but it is my fault. So just know that. The other thing is really important to do. You got to keep your emotions in check. It's really easy to sort of like take this personally now because you've just blood, sweat, and tears here working on this person, and you've just spent 2.5 hours, and now you got to go back and you've got to do this again, and it's just like, and it's really easy to kind of take that personally. So you can't do that. Also, none of this like, well, I mean, that's why I tried to tell you that blah, blah. No, we're not doing that. You can't do that. It's more like, oh my gosh, you know what? My most important, my biggest thing is that you're happy. So I'm so glad that you called to let me know. I'm glad that you're giving me the opportunity to correct it. I want to get you in as soon as I possibly can at a time that's convenient for you, and let's correct this so that you're happy with it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you want to correct the work, and that's it. Now when they come back in, the verbiage for that is, they call and they're like, well, this is not right, whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for calling to let me know. I want to make sure that, you're happy with that. That's my number one most important goal, is that you're happy with your hair and that you like what we're doing. I want to get you in as soon as possible to to make this right. So what I can do and so you offer them a time, or you talk about when they can come in, whatever. So you could come in at Tuesday at 3 o'clock. If that works for you, let's get you in. And what I'll do is I'll put a few highlights around a few foils around the front, some in your part to brighten that up a little bit more for you. And then, okay, now are you ready? Because nobody's gonna stand and do the blow dry again. I mean, blow dries are work, right? You're not gonna stand and finish this person out for free too. This, a blow dry might come with your color service, but you're not gonna correct the color service and then re-blow dry the person. I know, that can sound a little bit like stingy with your time, but you take that and times that by 25 years behind the salon. You could have gotten a haircut in at that time that you're going to blow dry this person. It adds up, and blow dries are physical. So if you're going to finish them out, they'll have to be charged for that. And here's some good verbiage for that. Hey, let's get you in Tuesday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll pop some highlights in the front, some in your part. I think you're really gonna like the effect of that. It's gonna brighten up that, that part line for you a little bit more. And I think, I think that will take care of it. That'll, and then they're gonna be so appreciative and say, you know what, so we'll do that. We'll bring you in, we'll get that done. And then after that, I'd like to treat you. I wanna treat you for giving me the chance to make this right, to a treatment, okay? So the treatment doesn't have to be your most expensive treatment. This could be conditioner that you sort of heat up, or you do something a little special with the conditioner, but you put it on, you give them a nice scalp massage afterwards, 2 to 3 minutes at the shampoo bowl. Maybe a nice hot towel. If you have a hot towel, like if you have a warmer that you put your towels in, wrap their head in a hot towel afterwards. This doesn't take very long. Or you could also like heat it up in the microwave. I mean, that's also a thing. And just wrap their head, let them feel that they're cared for, but say to them, so I would like to treat you to a treatment afterwards. So then they feel like they're getting another additional value, and then you say, I'll wrap it up in a cute little bun for you to like go home and leave that treatment in until you get home, and you can shampoo it out. So say, when you come back in, I'd like to treat you to a special treatment. And then we'll leave that in for you so that it can really take effect. And then when you get home, you'll just rinse that out. And then that way, you don't have to be stuck doing their blow dry. Or you can say, hey, I would like to treat you to a blow dry. So I'll wrap, or I'd like to, not a blow dry, I'd like to treat you to a treatment afterwards. And then what I can do is we can leave that treatment in, I'll wrap it up in a bun, and you can go home and you can rinse it out. Or if you want to book a blow dry with one of our stylists, or if you would like, if you want to book a blow dry with me, we'll do a blow dry afterwards. But tell them that they're going to be booking a blow dry with you afterwards, because you don't want to be standing there continuously working when even the blow dry isn't part of the service. You're correcting the color. And you're also treating them, right? So this is a great way, and this is going to keep this person coming back as well. Now, it might be a client you don't want back. I mean, I totally get that too. But there's a thing called reviews online, and not sure if you know this, but if you don't have a Yelp page, someone can create one for you by leaving a bad review. So they could go on and they could create a Yelp page if you don't have one, yes, for you, and then they can leave you a bad review. Now, I don't want us to be like, I don't want bad reviews to be something that we're afraid of all the time, but you want to keep the integrity of your business. So if you need to redo this person, have them come back and do that again, and then refer them to someone else as soon as you're finished and say, thanks for giving me the opportunity to correct this. I think so-and-so might be a great choice for you. So refer them to someone else so that you don't have to be saddled with somebody that, is not your type of a client. And there was something else I was going to say that was, I'm sure, brilliant, but I can't remember what it was. Gosh, I can't remember what I was going to say. It was along that lines. Oh, I know. So looking at this as an actual opportunity is really important too. It has to do with making the most out of this redo. So this person can come back, and while you're working on them, this doesn't have to be for nothing. While they're there, you can talk to them about products that you love, that you think would be great for their hair. You can also talk to them about add-ons, or hey, do you need a trim today? Or you know what, let's just pop a few highlights or whatever, and I don't know, let's do a little something extra. Let's do, do you want an eyebrow wax? Or, talk to them about some add-ons that you could possibly do while they're in the salon, and then you haven't been standing there for nothing. This is also an opportunity to get them to invest in something else with you, and then you set them up for their next appointment so that you keep them coming back. I've had several clients that I've had to redo in the past that I still have today, and they appreciated that I just wanted them to be happy. Had I argued with them in any way and said, well, now, I wouldn't have these clients anymore, and I love them dearly. And the fact that they support me throughout the year still makes that one redo that I did with them totally worth it. So just look at it as a way that if somebody does come back for a redo, there's still an opportunity for you to make some money. And this is also an opportunity for you to retain a client, because it is much harder to get new clients in than it is to retain the ones you have. So be gracious, bend over backwards for your clients. My friend Casey that had joined us earlier, her number one thing in her business and why she is a 6-figure stylist is because she puts all of her emphasis on doting on her clients, overly giving to her clients, putting them on a pedestal. This is customer service, and customer service is the lost art these days that people are looking for. This is how you set yourself apart. It is the way that you make people feel about themselves, the experience that they have when they come into the salon, that will set you apart from everybody else. You have to make that human connection, and you have to give more than you expect to receive. And when you give when you have the attitude of giving without the expectation of receiving, that is really what starts to happen. You get way more back than you ever did. I mean, it's kind of like the way the universe, I'm just blah, 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 blah. But honestly, like, I've been reading and doing a lot of personal development and a lot of, this thinking about how I can change in my mind, how I look at things. And when I am not worried about how much I'm giving, and I'm only thinking about I want to give, then you wouldn't believe how sort of the universe turns around and starts to give back to you. So thinking about redos, I don't want this to be a stressful thing for us. I don't want this to be something that, has to be a bad experience. I want us to, if they happen, first of all, I want us to prevent them. But if they happen, it's a great way to handle this, is to go into it with a spirit of being grateful, and to go into it with a spirit of this is an opportunity. And in everything you do today, I would hope that you would look at every situation that comes up and think, what is the good in this? Why is this good? What makes this good? And there's a lot of situations that just suck. But I just encourage you, for every single thing that happens today, think about how each and everything has something good to give. And when you can find the good in every little thing, that starts to spark this feeling of gratitude and gratefulness. And it takes the stress and this elephant that sometimes sits on our chest, it just takes that away. And you just breathe so much lighter and so much happier, and you're so much more content, and I think you're just a happier person. I know you are. So this is working for me, and I just want to share it with you. I'm sorry that was so long. We went 40 minutes, and I'm sure people are like dozing at this point. But that's what I got for today. If you're catching this on the replay, leave me a comment down in the comment section. I would love to know what you think about this and if it has helped you at all. And also share with me some things that work for you in a redo situation. Just want to wish you a happy Sunday. Thanks again so much for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.